Good morning. I will talk about Feiner versus New York. The case. Petitioner was convicted of the offense of disorderly conduct as misdemeanor under the New York penal laws in the court of a special session of the city of Syracuse and was sentenced to 30 days in the county penitentiary. The conviction was affirmed by the Onondaga County Court and the New York Court of Appeals. The case is here or certiorari petitioner having claiming that the conviction is a violation of his right of free speech under 14th Amendment. Based of the following facts. On the evening of March 8, 1949, petitioner Ivan Feiner was addressing an open-air meeting of the corner of South, Mike Breed and Harrison Street in the city of Syracuse. At approximately 6:30, the police received a telephone complaint concerning the meeting, and two officers were detailed to investigate. One of these officers went to the scene immediately, the other arriving some 12 minutes later. They found a crowd of about 75 or 80 people, both narrow and wide, filling the sidewalk and spreading out in the street. Petitioner standing on a larger wooden box in the sidewalk was addressing the crowd through a loud speaker system attached to an automobile. Although the purpose of his speech towards the listeners to attend a meeting to be held that night in the Syracuse Hotel. In this course, he was making derogatory remarks concerning President Truman, the American Legion to Major Syracuse and other local political officials. The police officer might not afford to interact with petitioner's speech, but were first concerned with the effect of the crowd on both pedestrian and vehicular traffic. They observed the situation from the opposite side of the street, noting that some pedestrians were forced to walk in the street to avoid the crowd. Since traffic was passing at the time, the officer attempted to get two people listen to petitioner back on the sidewalk. He crowd was restrained and there was some pushing, shoving and milling around. On the officer's telephone, the police station, an airport store and the boat police crossed the street and met with the crowd, without any intention of arresting the speaker. At the time, petitioner was speaking in a low, high-pitched voice. He had the impression that there was intervening to arouse the group of people against the right, urging that they rise up in arms and fight to equal rights. Her statement before such a missing audience started all the leading excited. Some of the onlookers make remark to the police about their inability to handle the crowd, and the list on the attendant vehicles in the police did not act. They were other woods appeared to the farming petitioner arguments because of the feeling that existed in the crowd, but for and against the speakers, the officers finales, except in the prevent in the front resulting of a fight. On the fourth officer approached to the petitioner not for the purpose of arresting him, but to get him to break up the crowd. He asked petitioner to get down the box, but the latter refused to accede to the request and continued talking. The officer waited for a minute and demanded that the case stop. Although the officer had to request petitioner to stop or the recused several minutes. Petitioner not only ignored him to continue talking. During all this time, the crowd was pressing closer around the petitioner and the officer. Finally, the officer told petitioner he was under arrest and ordered him to get down from the box. Reaching out to grab him, petitioner stepped down, announcing over the crowd that the law has arrived and suppose they will take over now. Meanwhile, the officer has asked the petitioner to get off the bus 3 times over a space of 5 minutes. Petitioner had been speaking for over a half hour. Legal use. Is the arrest of the petitioner the correct way of acting from the police when they face a crisis of public disorder to preserve peace and order? Yes. Full of love. The policeman ordering the circumstances delayed could reasonably conclude that serious fighting or even riot was imminent before he could stop petitioner's speech to prevent a breach of peace. Accordingly, is what disorderly conduct for petitioner continue speaking in disobedience of the officer request. The New York Court of Appeal said an immense danger of the breach of the peace of the disturber of public order, perhaps even or threat, was turned that the definite fact and indicate about disturber, pedestrian and vehicular traffic on the sidewalk on the street, and with intent to provoke a breach of the peace and the knowledge of the consequence, so inflamed and agit a mystical dance of sympathies. And upon that, in the judgment in the police officer present a clear danger of disorder and violence once threatened. Defended the deliberately refused to accede to the reasonable request of the officer, made within the lawful scope of the authority, that the defendant this is in the interest of public welfare and safety. The often known as breach of the peace embraces a great variety of conduct destroying and making public order and tranquility. Includes not only violent and bad acts and were likely to produce violence in others. For example, Canton versus Cornell. No one will have the harbor to justify that the principle of freedom of speech sanctions incitement to riot, or that religious liberty cannot the privilege to exert others to physical attack upon those belonging to another sect. When the clear present danger of threat, disorder interferes with traffic upon the public street or immediately threat to public safety. Peace order appears, the power of the state to prevent or punish is obvious. The findings of the New York courts as the condition of the crowd and the refusal of petitioner to avoid the police request, supported as by the record is the case, are persuaded that the condition of petitioner population of public peace, order, and authority does not exceed the bounds of proper state police action. This court respects at most the interests of the community and maintains peace and order in the streets. Thank you.